If you find yourself sliding down that slippery slope of negativity, start speaking positive words. I may have gotten to the point where I look at anything, I look for fault. You bring me anything, I look for fault. You ask me to look at anything, I look for fault. That sometimes changing our words mid sentence. If I were to say something like, oh no, I can't come, my job is making me stay late. Let's take all the possessives out of it. Instead of my job, just talk about all the work there is to do. There's a lot of work to do. That will help clarify what you're really thinking of. And instead of being sucked into the trap of seeing it in a negative way, if you can take the thing that you're really thinking of out of the negative frame that we tend to frame things in instinctively or habitually, take the thing out of it and say, okay, what I'm talking about is all the work, a lot of work. And then talk about the blessing that that brings to your life. There's a lot of work to get done, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be chosen as one of those who gets to do it, if you want to know the truth. There's a book that came out, I think it's in the 80s, called Simple Abundance. I don't remember anything about it except Oprah had it on her show, and I used to do anything Oprah said. And there was one, I didn't even read the book. She told me the story about somebody doing something in the book and blessing the thing that they were doing as they did it. What I got out of it was, from that day forward, when I would wash dishes, I would say, silently to myself, I would say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for all these dishes. The more dishes, the better. I have all these dishes. These are all mine. I worked hard for every one of them, and I'm going to bless every one of them by thanking it as I wash it and put it away and say, thank you, universe, for blessing me with all these material things. I mean, it shouldn't even be important, but I have so many of them that it's taken me now 2 hours to wash my dishes. That's how many dishes I have. I have abundance flowing out of my ears and out of my, porcelain farmhouse drop sink in my granite countertop. If I can find a way to complain about that, that is my problem. And if I have so many clothes that it takes me 6 hours to iron them using my professional steam iron with a big hose that goes back to the machine that goes as I iron it, I have to tell you, because of that one lesson that Oprah told me that day, whether it was true or not, whether I interpreted it correctly or not, I started saying to myself, I'm so grateful for this shirt. I used to have two shirts to choose from, and I would have to wash one as I wore the other. And I have so many shirts now, they can't fit in all of my 3 closets in my home that I live in myself, in my 4-bedroom, 3-bath home that I live in by myself. I have so many clothes, they will not fit in all of the closets put together. And I'm so grateful for every single piece of it that represents all of the hard work that I was blessed to engage in, and all of the abundance that came to me from my hard work that is represented now in this one shirt. And I'm going to, as I iron it, bless it and bless everybody and everything that helped bring it into my life, because I'm so grateful for it. I'm going to take care of it and iron it all by myself and say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, with every single shirt, with every single dish, with every single thing around me that I possibly can. If you do things like that and find new habits to make, I'm going to make it a habit of, if I know that I'm going to be the one stuck with the dishes every day, if I know that I'm going to be the one ironing my own clothes, if I know that I'm going to be the one cleaning up the dog poop, if I know that I'm going to be the one ironing or mowing the grass, if I know that I'm going to be the one doing all of these things, decide I'm going to do them and bless every single piece of poop or every dish, every piece of clothing. I'm going to decide to do that. And before you know it, you'll be telling people, no, 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 I'll wash those. And you just silently say it to yourself and say, thank you, 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 thank you. It can be really life-changing when you do that, because it helps you see the things that you didn't see before. And it makes me think to myself every day, what an ungrateful wretch I used to be for the abundance that I had in my life. That is so unattractive. No wonder, no wonder. And if you are wondering, why is it that I'm not able to keep the love in my life? Why is it that I'm not able to have friendships like I used to? Why are people leaving me? Why are people not wanting to be around me? Negativity is a huge repellent, huge, especially if you're seen as someone who is cursing their blessings. So remember, an easy way is to take the thought that you're thinking, and generally we tend to curse our own blessings. And so we'll, be cursing things like, oh, I have to go sit with my mom. I have to, take my mom to another rehab session. I have to go, to I have to go to Eamon's pageant tonight. I have so much housework to do. The more we start to recognize, wait a minute, there's a lot of house that needs to be cleaned. And I'm so blessed to live in that, and that's mine. There are so many clothes at my house, and they're mine. I have a nephew. I'm able to go to his pageant. I have a mother. There's nothing I need to put after that. If I can find a way to pervert those things into somehow being negative and then curse them, I deserve it. When they and the people around me who see me do it leave me, I deserve that. And so to avoid that, remember, if you're thinking negative thoughts, speak positive words. The second thing that I would like you to do is this. As you take the bus home, as you maybe sit in a public place, maybe at a mall, maybe you're driving down the street and you see people as they pass you in their cars, wherever you see other people, take the opportunity maybe once an hour at the beginning, just maybe once an hour, set your alarm on your watch and stop. Once an hour, stop and look around at everybody that you see and say to them one-on-one, as many people as you can. You don't need to do everybody. There's no rules. But say to that person, what do you believe you're made up of? Do you believe that you are a child of God and you're made up of the Holy Spirit, or you're maybe made up of universal light and love? What are you made up of? What is the stuff in between the stuff that holds the atoms and molecules together? There are atoms and molecules and genes and all of these little tiny things in us that really make us up, right? And in between those atoms and molecules, they have now found in a proton, in a neutron, in a nucleus, there's space. And it's the space in between the things that make up the things that make up the things that make us up. When you go right down to it inside that, there's something that holds us together. What is that? Is that the Holy Spirit for you? Is that love? Is that light? Is that forgiveness? Is that God? Is that Jesus Christ? What is it? Is that the Buddha mind? What is it? Whatever you think that is, everybody else who's in that room is made up of that too, right? Whatever our thought process is, we are all made up of the same stuff, and it's good. And I'm going to take a moment once an hour to recognize that and say, that Buddha mind, that love, that Holy Spirit, that positive energy, that goodwill in me recognizes and salutes, maybe inhales, maybe honors, maybe applauds, maybe it commends that love in you. I don't know who you are. Maybe I do know who you are and don't really like it. But once an hour, I'm going to look around and say, that is in me but not of me, but that keeps me together when I need it. That recognizes and salutes and cheers on and supports and loves and hails and commends and applauds that in you, just so you know. And you might not hear me. That does. So look around, as you ride the bus, as you ride to work on the train, just the people that you see, silently say it to them. The love in me salutes the love in you, It recognizes the love in you and it salutes it. Hello. If you start doing that and just giving that out to people, they don't have to ask for it. They don't need to know you sent it. You're given it. And when you do that to every person, as many people as you possibly can, you just go around. Your love for me and your compassion for me and forgiveness for me in no way affects my love for you, my compassion for you, my forgiveness for you. The love that I have for you and for everyone else is in no way swayed or affected by the love you either do or do not think you have for me. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the love that's within you. That's what I'm talking to. The love that's within me recognizes it and is saying hello, and it's going to salute it and honor it as much as I possibly can. If you do that, I'm doing several different things. I'm taking a moment out of that hour where I'm going to block and prevent any negative thoughts from coming into my head. Because even if they're trying to fight with me and say, who do you think you are? What a dork. How could you possibly do that? That's so ridiculous. You can say that, but the love in me is saluting the love that's in that person right now. So go ahead and say it. I'm busy saluting. I'm busy honoring. I'm busy applauding. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And what you will find is there will be many moments that all of a sudden will come together and be the moment where when you do that, you'll be like, I get it. I get it. They just saluted back. They just saluted back. No, not them. That stuff in them, it saluted me back. You will have that moment and you'll be like, Dan, what did you do? Be like, we brought out the positivity. It's a different world. You will see the whole world differently, and ipso facto, it will see you differently when you go around saluting it and recognizing that it's all made up of that beautiful love, positive energy, whatever you want to call it, that's inside of you. Talk to it, relate to it, engage with it, instead of just engaging with and talking to and relating to and becoming one with the negative energy and being sucked on that negative vortex into infinity. Recognize and salute the love in the person sitting next to you. And number 3, we are going to mess up doing this. We've only talked about 2 specific things. When we think negative thoughts, speak positive words. Take out the possessives and start talking about the things that we are cursing, and start figuring out what type of a blessing that's bringing to you in your life, because if it's in your life, it's a blessing. There's no other possibility, or it wouldn't be in your life. We talked about doing that, and we talked about saluting the love inside of the people around us. Even just those 2 things, it's going to be difficult, and you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to think of negative things, and you're going to say negative things, and you're going to do negative things, and you're going to be a big vortex black hole of negativity sometimes, because we're human. That's what we're here to do, to be human and to make mistakes. When you do, don't just let it slide and move along. If I'm writing a paper and I were to say something about how, I'm here as my brothel's keeper. I love my brothel. And then I were to realize, wait a minute, that's just a typo. I meant to write, I love my brother, but I instead wrote, I love my brothel. I would not leave that ink on paper. Even if it's just on a computer screen, I would not leave that and just keep writing and say, I mean brothel, I mean brother. I would not do that, because that was a mistake, and I want to erase that mistake. When we put something in writing, when we put it out there, when we create words on paper or virtually, whatever it is, when we take the thoughts from, flying out there and we pluck them out of the universe and plunk them into existence, when we make mistakes, we want to correct them. If I were to write, I'm an Irish boy, but instead I wrote down, I'm an Irish boob, I would want to correct that. I would want to cancel that, delete it from the paper, erase it from the paper, and write down what I meant to write. Because there's something in us that knows, I can't leave that out there just hanging. That's a mistake. It's not correct. It's erroneous. I'm going to erase it and put what I meant to write. What we want to do is that same thing with anything that we say or put out there that we then realize, oh, that's a mistake. Cancel it, clear it, say those words. If I were to say to you, even if I were saying it in a heated moment and I were to call you a name, or to call you something negative, to do something negative, cancel clear that. If I'm sitting here and I'm saying to myself, I want to get that Samsung Note 20 Ultra, but I can't afford it right now. I don't have money. Cancel clear that. I have enough money. However, I have not yet allocated it to my Samsung Note 20 Ultra. I have an abundance of wealth. However, at this moment, it's not my moment for that Samsung S20 Ultra, or I'd have it. That's more along the lines of what I meant to say. That other stuff, cancel clear it. If I had a moment of insanity and were rude to you or insulting to you, cancel clear that, and I apologize. But don't forget, when you put something out there that's incorrect, cancel it and clear it. We know enough to do that in almost all situations in life, except for our own dialogue, our own story that we write, our own narrative, our own record of our existence that we put out there, whether it's physically or verbally or mentally or spiritually. Cancel and clear those things that you recognize were mistakes. And that said, a lot of us aren't really sure, to begin with, how do I know if it's a mistake? I'm not really sure what I'm doing here to begin with. There's a tool that everybody needs, and it's called a personal compass. And if you have not yet delivered it, do me a favor and join me in this next video, because if this is something that you've just started to work on, don't stop here. Check out this awesome video. I will see you in there. Click that now.